Hey there, folks. So for today's session, we're going to be looking at the Voyager loop and exactly how to go about taking advantage of that loop from a free-to-play perspective. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do in your Voyager loop is making sure you have Neelix on that bridge. Now, Neelix is going to help reduce the cost of your canisters significantly for your summoning functionality, summoning the A472s and your Borg cubes. One of the great crews that you can also go with is Enterprise Picard and Enterprise Data. Enterprise's Data is going to give you that isolytic damage, also going to boost Enterprise Picard, and Enterprise Picard is going to give you that bonus loot. And this is what you're going to want to try to go with if you're going for the 8472s. Now, keeping that in mind, you'll also want to stack that bottom deck with any loot crews that you can and pair us to help with mitigation. Now, what do you want that for? It's because when you go through your refinery, you're going to want to claim those hydrogen tokens for your base refinery, but you're also going to need a lot of the 8472 loot to do your commerce insignias, and those commerce insignias are going to help towards your field training. So you want to get as much as that loot as you can. In order to get a lot of loot, you're going to need to be able to summon quite a few 8472s, and so that's your Neelix having that benefit there for you. And the loot crew is going to just help you how much loot you're going to get. And we're going to see that in just a few minutes here as we get through into the process. Now, a couple of other things in your refinery, including anomaly samples, and there's two types of anomaly samples you're going to be dealing with, regular and rare. The rares can be a bit glitchy, and we'll talk about that as we go through the video here. So if you see a rare and it's empty and unoccupied, grab it. The regular stuff's easy to get, it's in abundance. You're not going to have ever a worry of getting into token space with needing to find some of that. But that rare, if you can see it, grab it, take advantage of it. Any chance you get as much as you can and never drop on that. Now, in your refinery, you're going to have a few different options as well once you start getting some of those commerce insignias tokens on how to spend those. Now, there's things here like Explorer and Battleship, so ship-specific parts that you can go and cash those in for. They all going to cost you 100 commerce insignias, so you're only going to be able to claim 2 or 3 of these at a time every 3 or 4 days based on that rare pull and your A472 pulls. Don't be wasting any of your pulls on those ship-specific ones. They're not high return, not high yield. Those parts aren't going to be your bottlenecks until later on in the game. You're going to be going in here and getting your DeFore Fuchsia parts. That comes with LAT, which is a nice little added bonus. You're going to use it to get your Amalgam parts, your Cerritos parts, as well as your Franklin A parts. This is going to be a prime source for these 4 ships. They're specialty parts. So you want to be focusing a refinery in that particular area in the game. Now, once we get up to the 8472 space, this Voyager space, I'm a little deeper here in this video. You're going to see the 8472s that we can summon, and that's using Neelix's ability. Now, if you don't have any kind of boosting in your loot crews, 594 is the best you're going to get, but you're going to see the significant difference. Here I've got Enterprise Picard, only a tier 2 on Enterprise Picard, but I've got Tucker below deck. But Tucker gives you a boost on 8472s, and I've got the Dock below deck. This is a great crew once you've got the Voyager up to 2 or 3 spots below deck to get a bonus on that loot. And you're going to see here, we go from about 596 base biotoxins, and on that crew, I'm going to pull about 1,600 biotoxins, so just over triple the amount of toxins on a per ship. Now, you combine that with Neelix, this is a huge benefit because now you need significantly fewer summons of your 8472s in order to get enough to pull that maximum rare pull of 32,000. Now, why is that so important? Because when you come up to an event, and roughly once a month, there will be a Voyager event. And in that Voyager event, they're going to be expecting you to be doing a max pull of 32,000. You've got to do it during the event cycle. You see the time limit there. It is a 3-day event, but the rare pull is a 3-day pull. So you've got one chance to get this right and make that maximum pull. Now, you're only pulling for commerce insignias. You're not getting any other materials or anything out of that. But because of the training requires you to have 10,000 some commerce insignias pulls, every 100 of those counts, right? You want to get as much of those as you can. Now, in the other polls, you're going to get things like the wounded animal. That's just monthly alliance. That's just going to get how many kills they have. You're going to have another one for your Voyager upgrades. Don't get too worried about this one. Now, you can time it and organize it so you're doing your Voyager upgrades of the ship parts as well as your ship research during this event, so you can get yourself as high a level in those events. But I wouldn't be you're only getting these dual generators. Great item, but you can get them regularly as well. So this is not the only source for them. It's just the quantity you're going to get here is nice. So maybe target, once you get your Voyager, to hit this once or twice and score high in it, and then don't worry about it. It's not something that you're going to be sitting there at the end of the day worrying about scoring in that event every single time. That's going to be one, as a free-to-play player, you want to worry about hitting it once, maybe twice, and then just don't worry about it. Don't hold back on upgrading your Voyager for that event. It's not overly worthwhile to do so. There is some benefits, but they're not that high. Now, your 8472s are great. If you don't have Enterprise Picard, you could always use 5 of 11 and do some synergy with her as well to boost her damage. And use Enterprise data with 5 of 11. If you don't have either of them, so you don't have anybody above deck on the bridge to put in for a loot crew, you can always go with Kirk and Moreau as well for damage mitigation instead. Now, when we want to go into the token space, your goal here really is only going after those anomaly samples. So you want to max out cargo. Don't worry about putting somebody in that's going to speed up your mining. It mines fast enough as it is. Max out your cargo. Okay, so here we want to put 2 of 11 and the captain chair. We want to put Stone up there as well, and Alonzo Freeman in our bridge crew, and they're going to max out our crew on the bridge. And then we want to have Alon, Enterprise Data, and Tuvok below deck. Now, early tiers, go with Tuvok. When you only have one below deck seat, start with Tuvok. He's going to give you the most boost at 100%. And these token spaces are these FSAP spaces that you can see up in that northern Voyager space. So you're going to start off with Tuvok below deck. He's going to give you the biggest boost. And then most of you will probably have Enterprise Data at that point. Throw him down there, and then again Talon. Now, once we're in there, you're going to see 2 different spots. You're going to see rare anomaly samples and common anomaly samples. Grab those rares. See them, grab them, as I said earlier. The rare anomaly samples are going to take you anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, depending on how much research you have on doing the rares. The most important thing is, before you hit token space, get that first mining under the ship research tree for the Voyager. Don't go in here without that. Mistake I made the first time I went into token space, not realizing it, was obviously I didn't know that. So make sure you have that first, and that's found under your starship tree, and that's going to be dealing with our research. So while we're mining, we'll take a quick look at that. So here we have all our Voyager starship, Voyager research. So you want to get that high resolution imagery. Get at least one level in that, then you're fine. Then you can kind of just build up to it as your parts all roll in. Now, the one thing with Voyager to keep in mind is these parts are going to roll in from your refinery. So it's a catch-22. You want to build it up quickly, but you need to do the Voyager to get it, but your Voyager is going to give you all the parts to all your research. What you want to do is try to get down one level of everything in your tiers, and you're going to be focusing on those latter parts of the tiers. So go on the top line, get across those first couple. Make sure you get your high resolution imagery at level 1 first. Don't worry about going 2 or 3. And your anti-miner recycler, that's going to be helpful for expanding the distance in which your Voyager can go. So again, level that up as you can and as is appropriate based on your availability. But get it to 1, get across the board, and then you want to hit that Voyager hostile salvaging, your Voyager cargo, and your hull capacity. Those are the ones you want to max out as much as you can, as fast as you can. And if you want to time it around the Voyager events, great, but those are the 3 that you really want to hit. Why? Your hull capacity and Voyager capacity are going to boost your Voyager's cargo capacity on their own. Voyager being independent to itself, and the hull capacity at the top there going to help every ship that you have. So you want to get those as high as you can. The higher they go, the more that you can refine and that's just going to help your cycle on the refinery of the Voyager itself. 8472 hunting, that Voyager hostile salvaging, you want to nail those as much as you can because that's going to help how much loot you're getting when you're doing that 8472, and hydrogen hunting for those parts. Okay, so those are two that you want to be focusing on. Everything else is gravy on top of that. They're all going to help other areas of game, your Armada runs, how much loot you're getting from Armadas if you use the Voyager, efficiencies on your away team missions and so forth at the bottom there. Bonus pulls from your artifact store. When you're doing your pulls, make sure you're grabbing that as well, that bottom right corner there. But your focus needs to be those three that I mentioned. Your Voyager hostile salvaging, Voyager cargo, and your hull capacity, because those are going to be your huge benefits to helping make your Voyager run as lucrative as possible. And you are going to be locked on those, so you want to max those out to your operations, and then every time that's kind of a primary focus on a free-to-play account. Now, once we get back into our anomaly space, you always want to take a look. Rares are very, very glitchy. So what happens is sometimes somebody leaves a rare, and you can see here we even have someone, one of the players there, Cloud. He's on an anomaly sample, but it doesn't look like it's on it as well. He was previously on this one here, and you can't even select it. So this will commonly happen. It's a very big glitch in the anomaly space and the token space up here. So you got to watch out. Keep in mind, keep an eye on your Voyager. Make sure that you're hitting a node. When you see nodes aren't refreshing as we just had, go back to Galaxy View, then go back into the system view, and what you'll see, that will force it to refresh. And then you can see now we can move around. Now, we'll sometimes get a samples like the one that I just selected there, where it shows up 0. Again, game glitch. You can go out and back in. Sometimes that forces it to refresh. You can do it 3 or 4 times. Sometimes a full game restart will help you if you have the time to do it. The main thing here is picking on what you want. You'll end up with enough Voyager tokens that you can come in here over and over and over and over again, and you're not overly worrying about it. Once you get this refinery and cycle going, you're not going to be worrying about it. But it's a matter of getting it going. So you want to maximize that cargo. You want to maximize those definitions in the system. Now, another crew that I'm going to be going with here is I also want to be dealing with my Borg. So what are the Borg? So Borg is another ship that I'm about to summon. You can see instead of having a loot crew below deck there, I took out Tucker because he's not going to help me here. I'm going to throw in Harry Kim. And why am I throwing in Harry Kim? Because Harry Kim gives me the ability of getting morale, and with the X-Borg favor of Explorer Emergency Protocols, if I have morale, I can have a percentage of my damage that I take healed. That's going to be a key thing there. I want to have that healing there factor there. There's not I've got the dock down below to give me some more boosts. And again, I'm taking Enterprise Ricard and Enterprise Data and Neelix in there because I want to do that summoning. Now, these are these offset systems. These are additional token space systems. They take these special pieces of loot, which you get from killing 8472s. So when you kill the 8472s, you can get chests. If you get those chests, they'll come with the loot to come into these special token spaces. And you normally are going to get about 10 units for each chest that you get. So it takes roughly about 20 8472 kills to get enough to go into one of these particular spaces. Okay? And it costs 100 of the units to get into that space. And those spaces are Sherlock. And you can see here, I've already sent my Voyager into 1. I had 720 before. I'm just showing that it costs 100 of those quadrant Borg coordinates, Delta Quadrant Borg coordinates. Okay? So again, you're going to get those Delta Quadrant Borg coordinates from killing 8472s, and that's going to be in their chests. Okay? That's how you're going to receive those. So I didn't get any from the one that I killed earlier, and that's fine. You'll get one every 2 or 3 that you kill. If you have loot crews, those odds tend to go up. If you're having a good day, I've had days where I pulled 10 out of 10, and it was great. I can pop into that space. You don't have to go in this space that often. So this is not a primary concern for somebody early on. But why do you want to go in here? So we first get into this, and we can see there's a bunch of assimilated ships. You could go in here on those event days where it says come in and kill assimilated ships. These are going to give you a lot of parts. Okay, they're going to give you those 4-star battleship explorer survey parts, interceptor parts. They're going to give you those, and they're going to give you quite a bit. You'll fill your cargo up, no problem on those. Not why we're here. That because we brought Neelix. We're going to summon. So just like we did in the 8472 spaces, the Delta spaces, we're going to do a summon. You can see there my summoning is only 286 instead of 500, so I can summon quite a bit. And I summon a simulated data cube. And what does it get me? It gets me messages. No longer are you going to be doing those survey hunts. That day is done. You can see it's quite a significant amount of messages as well. I get 2,000 Federation messages just from this one ship. And yes, they're powerful, but your Voyager should be well enough once you can get into this space, be able to easily take them. Whether you're going to be able to take them or not is depending on how many 8472s. So if you're going and summoning 8472s and you're still struggling summoning those 8472 ships, you're not ready to enter this space. You're just going to waste those quadrant tokens, and those are a little bit of slow drip if you are struggling killing the 8472s. So wait until you're able to do a full run, and by a full run I'm saying 7 to 10 8472 ships with your Voyager, with that loot crew. If you can kill 7 to 10 of those ships, get in here, pull it. Now you might want to get in here a little early in the game, bring in your Pike Maru with Neelix crew. It may not be a loot crew, but still 2,000 of these. If you can kill 2 or 3 Borg cubes, you're still going to pull in about 2, 3, 4,000 messages for each of your factions. That's still going to last you a week, quite a few days, quite a few weeks even, of pulling your messages from your faction refinery, faction stores. And then you're going to get your faction credits out of that. So in this case, I'm about to kill one of these ships. I've got about 14 and just shy of 15,000 Romulan credits. And now the Borg is going to attack. And the important thing to remember here is this isn't going to go in your cargo. So I could go and summon all these, use up all my summoning, and then go and kill those ships if I wanted to. But I'm not there for that. But I had 14.8 and just shy of 13,000 Romulans in the message, and you can see now I'm just shy of 18. So I've gotten almost 4,000 Romulan messages out of that because of that loot crew. So significant benefits there. I'm only spending around 140 to 240 messages, I believe, a day in the Romulan messages. So that's going to last me for weeks, just that one pull. And again, free to play, right? Nothing special, nothing fancy on those. Just took advantage of the events as they came up to get those particular crews. None of that was purchased or bought. It was all free to play. And I'm just going to sit there and keep summoning now until I run out of my summons at this point. But you got to play what you're looking for. If you're looking for that 8472 loot, then you want to summon your 8472s. If you're struggling with killing them, don't come in here yet. Save those tokens up for when you're comfortably able to kill, again, 7 to 8 8472s comfortably. Then come in here. You might want Pike Maru when you first come in here for that first time along with Neelix. At least that's going to reduce your cost. But that's going to help you out in the game in the long term. And that's how you're going to go about succeeding in your Voyager loop.